Okay, let's dive right into this. If you've ever looked in the mirror and felt totally defeated by those stubborn dimples, wondering why literally no amount of dieting or super expensive lotion seems to make a dent, well, you are definitely not alone. Today on The Explainer, we're taking a serious magnifying glass to cellulite. We're not looking at fake miracle cures here, we're going straight to the clinical data and the proven biological science to figure out what actually works.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the origin of cellulite, then bust some myths you really need to forget, jump into nutrition and daily habits, go over a key exercise routine, touch on complementary medical treatments, and wrap it all up with our final verdict.
Section 1. The origin of cellulite. To defeat the villain, we first have to understand exactly what we're fighting on a microscopic level. First things first, let's normalize this. Look at this chart. An overwhelming 80 to 90% of all women have cellulite to some degree. It is a completely natural biological occurrence. It's not a personal failing, it's not a lack of willpower, and it is absolutely not a disease. From puberty onwards, as those hormonal changes kick in, the vast majority of women are going to develop this. So, if you have it, you're literally just experiencing standard human biology.
Now, clinically speaking, cellulite is known as edematous fibrosclerotic panniculopathy. Yeah, I know, that is a massive mouthful, but what it actually means is crucial. You see, cellulite is not just fat. It's this highly complex interaction between three things: your fat cells, your connective tissue, and fluid retention. Imagine your connective tissue as a rigid net sitting right beneath your skin. Now picture your fat cells as tiny balloons trapped underneath that net. When those balloons swell up, whether that's from fat storage, inflammation, or just holding onto water, they push up against the skin while that rigid net pulls down. It's this exact push and pull dynamic that creates that bumpy, dimpled orange peel look. Now, what's really interesting here is the stark architectural contrast between male and female biology. You might be wondering, why do 90% of women get this, but only about 10% of men? Well, it all comes down to structure. In women, those connective tissue bands, called septa, run straight up and down, completely perpendicular to the skin. This basically gives the fat a free pass to bulge right up between the bands. But in men, their tissue is structured in this crisscross parallel pattern that keeps the fat locked down super smoothly. It physically prevents it from pushing up against the surface. So your underlying architecture literally sets the stage.
All right, moving on to Section 2, myths you must forget.
It is time to dismantle the expensive, toxic, and sometimes just flat-out harmful misinformation surrounding quick fixes. Let's rapid-fire debunk these. First off, it's not just excess fat. As we just saw, it's a structural issue. Second, men absolutely can get it. Like we said, roughly 10% do. Third, and please listen to this one, simply losing weight does not eliminate it. Actually, extreme starvation diets can make the cellulite look way worse because they eat away your underlying muscle and cause your skin to sag. Fourth, it definitely doesn't just affect older women. This whole process starts way back at puberty thanks to estrogen spikes. And finally, those miracle creams? Sure, ingredients like caffeine might temporarily tighten the skin and boost circulation a tiny bit, but there is no way they are permanently restructuring your deep connective tissue.
I really want you to hear this objective truth derived from clinical expert Dr. Pilar de Frutos. There is no magic, overnight, forever cure in a little jar. You simply cannot magically erase your biology. However, with the right scientific arsenal and some solid discipline, you absolutely can manage it. You can smooth it out and achieve a massive, highly visible reduction until it's barely even noticeable.
Which brings us to Section 3, nutrition and daily habits.
So what exactly is in your daily scientific arsenal? Let's walk through this routine. Step 1 is dry brushing before you shower. Just using gentle, upward strokes really stimulates circulation and promotes lymphatic drainage. It's literally helping your body sweep away pooled fluids and toxins from those tissues. Step 2 is hydration. Gulping down about 2 liters of water daily keeps that skin elastic. Dehydrated skin looks uneven, which just puts a spotlight on cellulite. Step 3 is an anti-inflammatory lifestyle, which, believe it or not, includes managing your stress. When you're stressed out, your body gets flooded with cortisol. And cortisol is a hormone that actively tells your body to store fat and actually impairs blood flow to your skin.
Zooming in on the diet part, the clinical data shows exactly what we need to hit. We're talking low sugar and low sodium. High sodium is basically a magnet for the fluid retention that makes those fat balloons swell up. And fast-absorbing carbs and sugars, they spike your insulin and cause inflammation, telling your body to store more fat. Instead, you want to load up on omega-3 fatty acids to cool down that inflammation, and vitamin C, which you'll easily find in fruits and veggies. Vitamin C is absolutely crucial because it stimulates collagen production, and a stronger collagen structure means a much stronger net to hold that fat down. Oh, and don't forget your fiber. Keeping things moving prevents constipation, which can surprisingly block venous blood return from your legs, making that orange peel texture look a whole lot worse.
All right, section 4, a key exercise routine.
Okay, so diet shrinks the fat balloons, but we also have to build a really firm muscular foundation underneath to pull that connective net tight. Let's look at this breakdown. Strength training, totally non-negotiable here. Squats, lunges, hitting the weights, these build the muscle that presses firmly right up against the skin, helping smooth out the dimples. Now, for cardio, the clinical advice might actually surprise you. You want to prioritize power walking and spinning. You actually want to avoid high-impact running on hard pavement. Why? Well, because that severe repetitive pounding can literally damage and weaken the connective tissues in your legs over time. That just leads to more flaccidity and, you guessed it, worse cellulite.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how impactful this is. According to top fitness experts, committing to targeted, consistent exercise all by itself can improve the appearance of cellulite by up to 80%. Now, it's not totally gone, but an 80% improvement just from moving your body the right way, that's a real game changer.
Let's check out Section 5, Complementary Medical Treatments.
Now, what if you're doing absolutely everything right? The diet, the hydration, the squats, and you still have those stubborn spots? Well, the science shows you can't treat all cellulite exactly the same. Different types need different weapons. If you've got edematous cellulite, which means a lot of heavy fluid retention and swelling, clinical lymphatic drainage is definitely your best bet. If you're dealing with soft cellulite, which usually comes with loose skin, radiofrequency works beautifully. It heats the deep layers to jumpstart collagen and tighten everything up. And finally, for hard cellulite, those deeply anchored, kind of painful nodules, experts use treatments like acoustic shockwaves or mesotherapy to physically break down the tough fibrosis and dissolve that localized fat.
Finally, Section 6, the final verdict. To put this whole scientific journey into perspective, there really is no single magical cure. Cellulite is deeply tied to your genetics and your hormones, but by combining these proven strategies, eating an anti-inflammatory diet, staying super hydrated, building strong muscle, keeping your stress in check, and maybe adding in some targeted clinical treatments, you create this incredibly powerful cumulative effect. You're shrinking those fat balloons, you're tightening that connective net, and you are drastically smoothing and firming your skin.
So now I want to turn it over to you. We've laid out the biological reality and the real science-backed solutions. Which of these scientifically proven habits are you going to add to your routine today? Are you going to start dry brushing, maybe swap out that run for a power walk, or finally cut back on the sneaky sodium? The power is entirely in your daily choices. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.